Hey there, thanks for tuning in for this video. I just want to let you know up front that it's going to be loud. And if you want to try any of this at home, it's going to be loud. So keep an eye and a hand on the volume control. Protect your speakers and protect your ears. Okay, let's get started. Feedback! Audio feedback is one of those things that almost everybody is sort of familiar with. Even people who don't really know anything about how audio works. Everyone's been to an event at some point where somebody pointed a microphone at a speaker and accidentally created a feedback loop and a howling shriek. Anytime the inputs to your system pick up some part of the output, you have feedback. And it's been used creatively by many musicians in the electronic era, from Jimi Hendrix and David Tudor to Sonic Youth and Toshimaru Nakamura. Many circuits in a synthesizer, including filters, delays, and reverbs, depend on internally routed and strictly controlled feedback in order to do the things they do. What we're going to do here is create sound using feedback with no primary sound source. This technique is sometimes called no input feedback. Once again, I want to stress that this can get out of hand very easily, so keep your output volume low lest you damage your speakers or your ears. I have mixed this video to a relatively even level, but if you try it at home, definitely beware. So we're going to create a feedback loop with no primary sound source. Let's take the output of the CV bus preamp here and send it to the first channel of the CV bus. And let's take the second channel of the CV bus and patch it to the input of the preamp. We're going to use the CV bus both to visualize the signals and as a multiple so that we can create the feedback loop while also monitoring it with another output. Controlling the amplitude of the feedback is very important. So let's take the red channel, which is channel 1, and patch it to the Modumix. And we'll take the output of the Modumix to the green channel, which sends it into the preamp and completes the feedback loop. We can see on the green and red channels now that we have a signal coming through. Let's go ahead and monitor it, and I'm going to be starting with the monitoring level turned all the way down. As we slowly turn up the amplitude, we can hear the oscillation that this causes. Differing amplitudes create different loudnesses and different frequencies. And it's possible to find some zones of instability, which is always fun. We can of course modulate the amplitude with maths to get variations. Or we can patch the Optimix into the feedback path to shape it further. The Optimix changes the timbre and the pitch at the same time. And of course it can be modulated too. also going to use the DPO as a modulator, but at least to start, I'm going to use it without it oscillating. Now, how do we do that? Well, actually the DPO is always oscillating, but if we turn full down, we can get near silence from the final output. If we patch into the feedback path and use it to modulate angle, we'll get a waveform based on the feedback itself. And that is going to sound like this. Little adjustments to the angle control give us some timbral variation. That's the DPO being modulated by the feedback we've created. Let's go ahead and insert it into the feedback path by using it as a modulator. This is another layer of feedback here. Again, more zones of instability to be had here. If we want to get really gnarly, we can bring the fold amount up. And turn on some cross FM on the DPO. Or we could insert the reverb into the feedback path. Oops. There we go. This might be cheating, but not really, because there are no rules. This sounds different because the reverb is actually a part of the feedback loop. If we were simply monitoring its output, it would sound pretty different. The mix control is now an amplitude control, or it's always an amplitude control, but in a feedback path, it has an effect on the timbre and the pitch of the sound in a way it normally never would. Even with decay all the way down, we're getting massive feedback washes here. We can control waves of feedback with the pre-delay control. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Using feedback loops, you can add whatever modulators, sound modifiers, or even sound sources that you have at various places in the loop to change the way that feedback is altered as it passes through and back around again through itself. And don't forget to record your results into a morphogene to slow it down and hear all the little atoms that exist inside that feedback loop. Maybe we'll get into that at some point in the future. Thanks for watching and happy patching.